Welcome. You're watching our daily English news program on Somaliland National Television. I'm Waris Mohammed and these are the headlines. Somaliland's Minister of Interior meets President of Djibouti. Minister of Finance raises awareness on tax payment. Erdogan claims victory in elections. Somaliland Minister of Interior Ali Mohammed Waran Adde and his delegation met the President of neighboring nation Djibouti at his palace. The event had in attendance Somaliland's Ambassador at Djibouti Mohammed Hirsi Qalile, Minister of Social Affairs for Djibouti, Minister of Interior for Djibouti, and other keynote guests from both nations. Somaliland Minister of Interior, after conveying to the President of Djibouti deep regards sent by the government and people of Somaliland, discussed with the President of Djibouti ways of further strengthening relations between the two nations, in addition to security measures at the borders. Minister of Interior, speaking to the reporters, expressed his gratitude for the warm welcome they received by the people and government of Djibouti. Prime Minister, alongside Minister of Labor and Social Affairs for Djibouti, met with Somaliland delegation led by the Minister of Interior and discussed a variety of issues concerning both nations. Ministers of Finance, Justice and Public Works attended an event held at the headquarters of Civil Service Agency to raise government employees' awareness on paying taxes. Minister of Justice Hussein Ahmed Aidid, speaking at the event, stated that taxes paid by citizens and the government services provided are intertwined, and that it's an obligation upon every citizen to pay taxes, and in return, the government can and will be able to provide citizens with an ultimate government services. The Minister of Justice continued to add that anyone found not paying taxes must be dealt with in accordance of the law. Not paying taxes must be dealt with in accordance of the law. Minister of Public Works and Minister of Transport collectively stressed the necessity of taking heed to the efforts by the government, ranging from budgetary increases to allocating more to capacity building the country, which ought to galvanize the citizens to understand the ultimate objective of taxes. Minister of Finance Abdulaziz Mohammed Samaleh spoke at the podium. He stated that the Ministry of Finance has taken major steps to make sure that the budget was increased and amplifying efforts towards ensuring that every citizen has paid imposed taxes. The Ministry of Finance pointed out that it's a necessity for every citizen to pay taxes, and in regards to the government services, the citizens can only be able to access improved and comprehensive public services by paying taxes while considering it as the way forward to their development. The Director General for the Ministry of Environment and Rural Development and the Deputy Mayor of Sahel region took a supervision tour to Gaan Libah Mountains. Director General for Environment and Rural Development elaborated on the significance this mountain has for livestock in Somaliland, for being one of the very rare places to which livestock would come to eat at the times the country witnesses droughts and lack of rain. Deputy Mayor of Sahel region stated that this mountain is part of the great resources of Somaliland, in addition to other mountains too. He continued elaborating further on the great history it has in our nation. The Deputy Mayor also speaking to the people who continuously cut the plants in the rural areas in purpose of turning it into charcoal, and urged them to preserve the environment in our country and protect the plants and the natural resources. Eventually, Director General for Environment and Rural Development concluded with a message to the people of Somaliland to amplify their efforts in preserving the environment. Deputy Head of Hargeisa Electricity Agency, Abdullahi Yusuf Ilmi, sends an apology to the customers over an absence of electricity in some neighborhoods of Hargeisa due to fault in some machines. The deputy head stated that the electricity went off in some neighborhoods due to fault in one of the machines supplying electricity to the city, and that the agency is dealing with the fault by employing a number of engineers and providing facilities to detect the problem. He expressed hope that electric fault will soon be solved and urged the customers to understand what caused the absence of electricity in their neighborhoods, as the agency continues spending more time and expense to provide better services. Deputy Manager of Hargeisa Electricity Agency, Abdullah Yusuf Elmi, added that the agency already sent a request of machinery equipment from the United Kingdom, awaiting to arrive soon to Somaliland. The deputy manager continued to add that these facilities will be used on maintenance of machines at the agency headquarters. Dad Maded Regional Coordinator for the Ministry of Sports, Youth and Tourism donated a set of sports equipment for 2 football teams in that region. The objective of this donation was to facilitate the participation of the 2 teams competing in this match, in which the winner will receive the Peace Cup, as they entitled it, to show appreciation to the peace and stability in that region. The 2 teams that were competing were Team Somal and Team Sha'ab. Coaches and supporters of these teams continue to provide the necessary assistance for both teams to grow and participate in more matches around Dad Maded region in hopes of finally participating in nationwide football competitions. You're still watching the English news program on Somaliland National Television, and now for the international headlines in detail. Members of business people and the residents of Kamakunji district informed the media about a recent meeting held with the Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto. Members representing the Isli Committee of Business People, Cultural Leaders and Religious Scholars held a press conference to inform the media about the recent meeting held between the Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta and the committee to discuss possible cooperation between the Kenyan security agencies and the community leaders of the Somali-speaking communities residing in the mainly Somali-populated neighborhood of Isli. During the meeting between the community leaders and the president, they discussed the fear of the Somali-speaking communities in the area towards police crackdown, as these communities became soft target for the police and the security agencies following explosions and organized crimes, which not only hit the Somali-populated neighborhoods but also impacted the whole country. The Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta urged the community leaders to provide close cooperation for the government in dealing with the terror acts which created an outrage towards the Somali-speaking people. The Kenyan President also pledged that neighborhood will be turned to a 24-hour economy and commercial hub if the community leaders increase cooperation with the government. Speaking on the recent directive issued by the Kenyan Interior Secretary Joseph Olelinko, ordering the Somali immigrants to return to the designated camps of Dadaab and Kakuma, while announcing the consequences must be met by any found flouting the directive, head of the Isli business community Hassan Guled stated that they discussed the directive with the Kenyan president, branding the whole Somali community as people who are involved in the violence. Hassan Guled reiterated that the president mentioned the directive followed by violence, but Somali people ensured that the security in Isli district is sustained. Then the Kenyan government can and will eventually be able to take part in the development of government services being provided for the residents of Isli. After what was seen as a test of his popularity, Turkish Prime Minister his Islamist-rooted AK party is on course to win between 43 and 47% of the vote. The strong showing could now encourage Erdogan to contest the presidency in an August election or introduce legislation allowing him to run for a fourth term. The opposition CHP trailed with 26 to 28% in an election campaign which has seen the government tighten its grip on the courts, purge thousands of police and block access to Twitter and YouTube as it tried to stem a flow of graft allegations. Erdogan has warned his foes that they will pay the price for plotting his downfall. Such was the tense build-up to the local polls that during voting there were several deaths and clashes. In one province, a gunfight between two families left 6 people dead and 9 others wounded. China President Xi Jinping arrived in Belgium on Sunday as part of his European tour. He and China's First Lady Peng Liyuanwaz were met by King Philippe and Queen Mathilde and given the full red carpet treatment, including a cavalry parade and brass band. At the Brussels Palace, King Philippe presented the Chinese leader with the Order of Leopold. The state visit continued with a visit to Paris-Daiza Zoo in Prouguelet, where the zoo has a pair of pandas on a 15-year lease from China. The two leaders and their wives unveiled a statue and inaugurated the new panda residence. On Monday, Xi will end his trip with a visit to the European Union headquarters. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. You can join us tomorrow at the same time. Goodbye.